Let's go straight to Matt Canavan now. Great friend of this show. Matt, great to see you. I hope you... I don't want to put outsiders viewers off their breakfast, but I know that you've taken a fascination in eating bugs. Have you had your bugs for brekkie this morning, Matt?
No, I haven't had my brekkie yet. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to make some pancakes for the kids. But
some bug pancakes,
I
hope.
won't be slipping any cicadas or crickets if the kids are watching. It's all just going to be flour, caster sugar, eggs and butter. So all those good things. But yes, well, there are some in Canberra guys who are taking a great interest in eating bugs. Apparently, I questioned the CSIRO this week in Senate estimates about their fascination with this. They have seemingly had 16 of their staff, 16 staff, working on an edible insects report. Apparently, Australians spend about $10 million on edible insects at the moment, but that's nothing compared to the $10 billion beef industry we have. But apparently it's worth the focus of our premier industrial science organisation to be looking into how we all should be eating more crickets, cicadas, other insects, to save the planet. In their words, to reduce global greenhouse gases and protect us all from global warming. I asked the CSIRO officials, there's about 20 of them in the room, I asked them, had any bugs for dinner over the past week? Not a single person had done so. And why is it that the people who are so insistent on that we cut carbon emissions, that this is an existential threat, that we should be on some kind of war footing to fight climate change, why is it that it is those people who do nothing themselves to actually contribute to that cause? They want everybody else to do it. Everybody else can eat bugs, but the CSIRO will keep eating cake.
So what is the agenda here? Why? I mean, is this they're seriously putting this forward to reduce Australia's emissions down to net zero? That the public now have to eat, as you said, cockroaches and things like that. Are they serious about this? How much do we pay for this, Matt? For this study?
Well, look, Rowan, they are serious. I wish it were just a joke, but as I say, there were 16 staff working on this report. It was a lengthy report on the potential to grow or make Australians eat more insects and bugs, or for most of us, I'd say eat some insects and bugs. They had a 3-day symposium in Brisbane to discuss this report with various experts. It's been in the making for a couple of years. That was actually before coronavirus, that symposium. In terms of the cost, I don't have those figures yet. They took that on notice, is what they say in the Senate. I did ask them what the costs were of this report, and they'll get back to me in a month or so. So watch this space to find out how much of your taxes is going towards this kind of ridiculous work. And look, I mean, there is this push around the world. Certainly in America, there's a push to make people eat bugs because, as I was saying, they reduce greenhouse gases. The CSIRO put this up on their Facebook post during Beef Week, when Beef Week was here in Rocky. They were actually celebrating a major industry that people actually like to consume en masse. The CSIRO, I didn't see any posts from them about promoting the beef industry or what they're doing to help us produce more beef or help reduce costs for farmers. But they chose to put out a major report on edible insects. And it just shows the wacky priorities that we have sometimes down there in Canberra. They've got to be reined in. This is out of control, and your taxes should be going to stuff which actually matters and can make a difference in this country, not these side projects, the pet projects of certain people on your taxes.
Rita.
Well, I don't know. Maybe zesty tree ants are something that we should try. I think Rowan is going to nominate himself to have a go on this program.
Yeah.
Is there anything
we can have our very own Australian survivor, an outsider survivor, Rita, where we can all
I'll have a bogong moth.
Tribal spread.
That's it. But is this sort of fantasy stuff? Is it already happening in other parts of the world? What is the? I kept seeing it. I keep seeing it promoted by the UN and news outlets and all sorts of different governmental bodies. But is it actually happening around the world where people are substituting bugs for other protein sources?
Well, look, Rita, as you say, there has been this heavy promotion of bugs by those types of organisations that you mentioned, and I see that myself through social media. As I said, as I sort of revealed there during the week, I've yet to meet somebody who actually does eat insects or bugs on a regular basis for their primary protein needs. Certainly no one there from the CSIRO would admit to do so, although the chair, as I said before, it is serious, but they were trying to laugh it off, and the CEO, Dr. Marshall, said he'd had bugs in the last week. He'd had Balmain bugs.
With a glass of bubbly down at Catalina's or somewhere. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's right.
Moreton Bay bugs.
Well, I haven't had. Well, I prefer Moreton Bay bugs coming from Queensland. I haven't had them for a long time because they're bloody expensive, but I do like them. But as far as I can tell, as I say, there's a heavy promotion. It's all part of this great reset, build back better, all this rubbish. But I haven't seen too many people do it. And I don't think Australians are going to eat bugs. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll continue to like their nice big red meat juicy steaks.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have no idea what sort of wine you drink with your cricket risotto, but, I just want to ask, finally, do you reckon that this really isn't... I think that this is not about greenhouse gases at all. I think that's an excuse, and what this really is about a much deeper politics of, call it refutation, if you will, that anything that's traditional in our society has to be completely undermined. So we don't talk about beef farming, we don't talk about, cattle, we don't talk about sheep, we talk about bugs because they're new and different and, come from some other part of the world, whereas all of this stuff is traditional and European and, our terrible benighted past and history. How much of this do you think comes from that mentality, or am I just reading too much into this?
Look, that's an excellent point, James. The report itself and the CSIRO officials made the point that there are hundreds of millions of people around the world who do eat bugs, and traditional cultures and tribal cultures that have done that. And I think you're right, there's this sort of Rousseauian noble savage here that somehow we should all return to that, and our civilised European ways of living and enjoying juicy red meat steaks are somehow inferior. I would posit a different theory, and that is that yes, there are lots of people who eat bugs around the world, but they do that because they have little other choices. And I'm sure they would love the choice to eat a steak or even a chicken breast or something, but they don't have that choice, and they resort to eat bugs. Now, I don't want to resort back to a caveman mentality when we're eating bugs and beetles on the cave floor. I think we live in a great country, a great civilization that's built to lots, and what I see around the world are a whole lot of people who want to join that civilization, who actually want to industrialise and have seen what Europe originally did and other countries have done and want to do the same. And there is an agenda out there that, as well-meaning as it might be, that seems to want to stop the starving people of Africa joining that world, joining the first world. Whereas I think we should let them build coal-fired power stations, let them industrialise their economies, let them improve their farming practices. And wouldn't it be great if everyone around the world had the kind of luxuries that we just take for granted in this country?
Absolutely. Let them eat beef. Thanks, Matt Canavan. Thanks so much. And I'm sure Scott Morrison at the G7 will be dishing out the Aussie bugs for them all to munch on as they work out how to destroy our economy. Matt Canavan, thanks so much for chatting to Outsiders. We'll see you soon, mate.
Thanks, Rowan. Thanks, El.